Oh boy.
I got you. I got you.
Come on out, you rapist!
Yes, y'all. That's right. We're back here deep inside the marijuana cannabis vault, ready to light it up early morning. There's 4:20 ahead, so we're getting a jump on it. Loaded for bear with all the weed you can handle, all the kickouts, all the run-ins, all the no-sells, and TK's big debut as a character on AEW Dynamite. Light the fuse with MSG, Hacker Hameen, and all the Bearcats at channelattitude.com. YOLO!
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, what's good? Oh, shut the fuck up. Danzig not having it this morning. Not having it.
Right?
Oh man, good to be back. What's up, Maddie? Good morning, pal. Early, and you were up even earlier, ready to go at 7. I hit the road and figured I'd get here to get things set up. More vendors coming today. I had 6 vendors yesterday show up just so we got all the smiz for all the good briz that are coming in on 419, 420. And yeah, man. Oh, holy shit. I worked 14 hours yesterday. Today's going to be a 15-hour day because my man JD Love is going to see the boss, see Bruce Springsteen tonight. So I'm doing the notorious open close 2 nights in a row.
Well, we're happy to have you here, Ben. I mean, it's been a crazy week. It's been a crazy week for you professionally. I don't know if it's been necessarily been too crazy in the world of professional wrestling. But we've got some stories here to talk about. Specifically, to get started here, I've got one here with AEW. I don't know if you saw this. It came across the last 24 hours.
I haven't seen shit. I haven't seen anything. I seen you. That was about the last thing I saw.
Well, this one just dropped. AEW gets a warning from the Oklahoma State Athletic Commission. So, according to KOKH from the OSAC, the Oklahoma State Athletic Commission, they've issued a warning to AEW for including Nyla Rose, who wrestled against Alejandro Leon during the December 20th, 2023 event, the promotion's first in the state. Now, Sean O'Leary has the minutes of this past January's meeting with the commission, where they repeatedly misgendered Rose as they discussed her appearance in AEW Dynamite, which violated Oklahoma's 2021 law against transgender athletes competing against cisgender athletes, even in scripted entertainment like wrestling. They opted to give a warning with a caveat that further punitive measures would be handed out, and the commission had been tipped off by an unnamed wrestling promotion that had dealt with a similar warning. Oh, so there was a wrestling promotion who got warned for having an intergender match, and they ratted out AEW. Rose commented on the commission's minutes, jokingly suggesting that she would find the dastardly transgender, referring to herself. And for those, I looked in further as far as the Oklahoma State Athletic Commission. It's like they recognize that you can't do male versus females, non-human participants. They specifically put non-human participants in there as well. And then you can't do male on male, female on male, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, no intergender wrestling, even in a scripted environment. And as a result, somebody dropped the dime on AEW and they got a warning. Ben, you just had to deal with an athletic commission, so you know how much bullshit they could put you through. But what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, man, this is interesting, right? Because there's a lot of components to this and a lot of ignorance, it sounds like. But at the same time, I try and look at things objectively from the commission's point of view of why they may do those things. And a lot of times, one rotten apple spoils the bunch, and that has nothing to do with Nyla Rose by any means, because it seems that this rule was in place and some indie got their tit slapped for it. So it's not like they're just doing it to do something woke out of nowhere. That this is established in their state, and it is a state by state basis. Now, do I think that's a absolutely ridiculous statute to have in place? Absolutely. For pro wrestling, absolutely. This
You
is
can't shoot
stage.
guys versus girls action movies either in Oklahoma State. That's the next thing,
Exactly.
right?
Like you can't have a play where there's some domestic abuse issue. You can't even write that. How far are we going to take this?
Yeah.
Because this is nothing more than a live action stunt show where all the players agree to take care of each other so we can do it again on the road the next night, no matter if you got a cock and you dress in a dress or if you don't and you fucking are fighting a man who's been oppressing you to overcome in the storyline. So the rules seem to be arcane when it comes to the actual understanding of what we do to protect each other and tell a story, more than it may be to be like, we're not letting that trans woke culture into our state, right? So I don't like it could easily be perceived as that by someone who just reads headlines. But if this was set up and done to another independent, it could be because of the reasons that somebody who should probably be on castrating the marks with Al and Jeff and Vince reviewing some dumb spot took way too many chances and endangered a woman, and did some stuff that was far beyond. The same thing happened in Kentucky. That's why Kentucky has a wrestling commission, because I believe it was Ian Rotten was running some shitty fly by night shit promotion and smashed some kid with a fucking light tube, and the kid was 15 years old and there was no licensing. So from that and got gigged bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I think Al Snow specifically talked about that, about how they had to come in and do
yes. And then since then, the Kentucky Wrestling Commission was formed to take money from the workers, not promote their shows at all, and be up their ass 6 ways to Sunday. Now, that's changed probably in the last decade since I haven't been around there. But at the same time, that's what commissions do. And they rip up your license and throw it in your face. So, like I said, to each state their own. And it's tough because I can see where that is a controversial topic right now. I just saw the high school dude, or girl, whatever he identifies as, run against the other women and broke the school record by 2 seconds. And you just see the demoralized look on these female athletes' faces. They cross the finish line behind someone who identifies as a woman, but definitely is not. And just to keep this going. And now, you know, a lot of times it's women that stand together with that community to be like, oh, we want equal rights and gender, but the reality is they're doing it on the backs and stepping on the heads and stepping over women. So really, this is just another catch-22 oppression of the female gender by those who identify as the female gender to get over in a sport because they couldn't get over in the male side of sports. It's a very strange time, and that's not me passing judgment. That's just the truth of the matter of the situation, right? Like you raise your daughter to be an athlete, you put in all the hundreds of miles going to there, and now because of woke culture, a dude who couldn't make top 5 can grow out some braids and wear women's clothing and come in and wipe the floor with the rest of the female pack. That doesn't seem right to me. Now, if you wanted to have a third category of transgenders who want to compete, I have zero issue with that. But this whole fucking woke culture shit is so far out of hand that the ridiculousness of these situations have brought us to this argument that is all encompassed in, unfortunately, Nyla Rose, and some phony wrestling. So to lump that rule in with legitimate sports as opposed to a stage stunt spectacular does not compute. It's not the right legislation overall, because if I was going to work with Serena, in New York, we're going to have is probably one of my best matches I'd ever have because she's a way better worker. But I'm not going to be making sure I take chances and hurt her by any means when it comes to what we're trying to accomplish in the story. So, but like you said, so now we can't shoot movies there that do man on women violence. What's the difference?
I don't know.
And I leave that question to the board at Oklahoma, because if they don't have a good answer for it, then maybe there is a bit of that payback to woke culture in that legislation.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah. I was gonna say maybe some phobia as well, right? Some
Yeah, some phobia. That's a great, absolutely. That's a great version. I was searching for the words. It's very early to be articulate for me.
What's fine, Ben?
I'm home.
You're home. You're good. You're here.
I'm home.
You're home. So
I'm in
next,
the fucking ball.
next story here, we've got a report on Vince McMahon's purported mindset on Janelle Grant's lawsuit and possible charges. This story came out yesterday on Wrestle Inc. It says this change. It says the McMahon's thoughts regarding the lawsuit he faces or potential charges of a federal investigation against him continues. This week, NBC News reports that those close to McMahon say he has continued to cooperate with the authorities and investigate him as he believes that he will not be charged in the matter. As for Grant's lawsuit, McMahon appears to be equally as dismissive, believing that the matter will be settled before reaching trial. This was denied by someone in Grant's camp who stated there had been no talks of a settlement between McMahon and Grant. Meanwhile, mixed signals have emerged regarding how much focus McMahon is putting on his legal issues. Some say McMahon has spent most of his time on the phone with lawyers, attempting to formulate a strategy to fight against the lawsuit, and he's become more guarded since the story emerged. However, others have noted McMahon is still active socially, using a private driver to travel from Connecticut to New York. I'll see if I can stop him. Where he dines with friends, gets bi-weekly haircuts, and works out with a personal trainer. McMahon has also remained in touch with some in WWE, with sources saying he has conversed with The Rock and John Cena. Aside from The Rock, though, McMahon hasn't spoken with any WWE higher-ups or any family members regarding his legal woes, including his son-in-law Triple H and his daughter Stephanie McMahon. Thoughts on Vince McMahon?
How would they know? How would they know that? Like, he hasn't talked to Stephanie and Tripp, so yeah, okay, you know that.
Thoughts on though, maybe on the mindset that McMahon thinks he's going to beat this. He's got nothing to worry about. This is not even going to go to trial. Settlement's going to happen, and this is all going to be water under the rug. And I'm going to start my own wrestling franchise again.
Most of that's probably true. Yeah, like, why is this even going on? Isn't all of his stock up for sale right now from TKO, especially since Silver Lake is taking over? That means he's about to get anywhere between a 6.8 and an $8 billion payout based on what he's already sold in the last year, which was $900 million in Class A stock. So what the fuck is $3 million to pay off her to get her to go away?
Or even 10,
just on the
right?
He makes that on the interest alone daily. People can't fathom what $1 billion really is, dude. What $1 billion and what in one day you can turn around and make 21 million just on basic investments. You know what I mean? So to pay her off, dude, that's one fly on the fly strip. They got caught. There's fucking $19 million in other NDAs, kids. This is not a one-off. He fell in love and shit on her head and they were going to go off happily ever after. This is a pattern of fucked up BDSM, fecalphilia, power play, turn out some rats like it's 1980 and we're all doing coke, driving Corvettes, fucking end of life crisis, a megalomaniac, narcissistic, ego-driven, steroid-fueled behaviors. That's what this is, over and over and over. And will they pay their way out? Absolutely they will. And will he be that narcissistic and vindictive to open another wrestling company? Never say never. But if it was me and I had that kind of money, I'd buy an election and become the rulers of the world, especially if I got Trump and the Saudis backing me and I can fucking go to China, Germany, wherever I want to go anytime and be a statesman and be a CIA op that they already are and have the American military backing me for USO shows. That's real power. Like, fucking who's got the book and who comes out is not real power compared to what I just laid out. So some young lady who's been taken advantage of, lied to only to become a sexual object, and she was in on it, but now has to play like she's broken toys and was taken advantage of. Was she? Sure. Did she know her part in it? Absolutely. Is she looking for a payday? Mm-hmm. So pay her, and it's all over with. Because the only other thing that's going on is that somebody in the feds is on the Clinton fucking pay list and they want Trump to go down, and they're going to take all of Trump's boys with them. So that's why the federal investigation is going down right now. And what's on that laptop is far bigger than the salaciousness or the payoff that he would have to do with her. So if there's video on there, now we're talking blackmail. Now we're talking betray Trump, to like give us the secrets. And there's a bigger deep state reason why the feds are squeezing Vince's balls than him having sex with Ace in the fucking massage room in Stanford. That's just the salacious headline part of it, the Diddy part of it. What's the real deep state part of it? Sap suckers and House of Wrestling fans have no idea. They don't even look at the situation like that.
Sap suckers. That's right. You know, when you said broken just a second ago, I had like a PTSD for a minute with Victoria's song, broken. I don't know why.
I was going delete.
Yeah. All right. So the Young Bucks and Tony Khan decided last week to air that backstage footage from AEW All In, which showed backstage, of course, the altercation where he talked about it. However, the Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, spoke with Sports Illustrated and had this to say: old wounds were reopened. We decided it was only fair to be transparent and honest with our fans. We needed to give them context about why we feel we came up short at All In London. Our bodies were there in the ring wrestling FTR at Wembley, but our minds were in the back with the scapegoat in the entire situation, Jack Perry. The three of us specifically were wrong that night, and I haven't gotten over that. His brother Nick echoed Matt's comments by saying he had zero regrets about airing the footage. As EVPs, we were given a task for that week by the boss, and we did it to the best of our abilities. So Jackson Brothers' comments are similar, of course, to what AEW president Tony Khan said after the executive decided the upcoming match between the Bucks and FTR, which is the first time the two teams have tangled since All In, is reason enough to air the footage and make it part of the AEW on-screen canon. Thoughts on the Bucks doubling down with Sports Illustrated saying, dude, we're airing this footage and we don't care.
Yeah, I mean, you can't backtrack. So I don't think it did a ton of damage, but this week it's a sad trombone afterwards.
Right.
Like, what follow-up was there? Why was it so controversial? Why is there no blowback on this week's show from them airing it? You know what I mean? Or do part 2 and spoof it and have them play Punk and everybody else. Like, now you're going to see the aftermath, the super secret footage that nobody saw, and make a rib out of it. But instead, we just continued with the storyline that didn't really mean anything. And we didn't even have FTR, did we, this week?
No, their vignette got cut by the Bucks.
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't mind that actually when they said that.
Yeah.
I thought that was a decent thing, but is that our number one choice just to cut them? Like, we're trying to start this storyline, to cut them out of the storyline is funny heat, but is that the our best bit of business? I don't know. We'd have to have a powwow and sit down, but I don't like after cutting them out. That's when they or they should have kind of started it and then cut it, be like, sorry, we're short on time. You know what I mean? Yeah, to take it away. So they come in hot next week to be like, you're not cutting us from the show. So I don't know, man. It's just a lack of director's vision,
Yeah, lack of forethought as far as where they're heading. I mean, because they have I guess Saturday Collision, so they're doing something with the Bucks and Okada versus FTR and someone or Pac. That's what they're doing. They're doing like a 6-man this weekend as their go home.
Well, like how could there be a roadmap? Because they just decided to play that last week after selling for Punk on Ariel Helwani. So it's not like there was a long-term storyline here. They just thought they saw was an opportunity to tie it in, like you said, to canon and a fuck you to Punk and get the sheets talking. But
it didn't really get the sheets talking because the numbers didn't really move at all, right? And like there was some conversation there maybe for like 12 to 24 hours. We had discussed last week about the Tony Schiavone thing, and Tony Schiavone went on his podcast last week and said, I was just in character. He defended AEW saying I was at WCW 2000 and I'm here now. And the comparisons are light years different. So he's reporting that he was just being Tony Schiavone in character, like disgusted with the Bucks, not necessarily disgusted with the product. Either way,
it sure didn't play that way, did it?
No. Either way, it didn't appear that way, and that was the talk that was coming out of it. No one was even really talking about the Bucks or the storyline. It was the Tony Schiavone meme, him being disgusted. And then furthermore, as we discussed, the needle wasn't moved. You maybe have had 40 to 50,000 extra viewers, but by the end of the show, you lost 80 of them. So it really didn't help at all. If you end the night at 732,000 after peaking at 819,000 during that clip, you didn't retain those viewers throughout the remainder of the last hour. So
yeah, it's the biggest talk of the week that week, right? Like after WrestleMania, are they going to show it or aren't? And then they showed it at 9:00 as opposed to threading it throughout of like, will they show it? Will they not? People trying to talk him down, tell him Tony it's a bad idea. Even Tony saying he's not going to do it, and then the Bucks jump over him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like the Bucks cause some distraction spot down the hallway that Tony has to go deal with, and they hit play on the thing. You know what I mean? And that's the last thing we see. So them doing it in the middle of the show and not having people's reactions or staged vignettes of people trying to talk each other down with cameos and shit, they just don't understand. They don't understand how to thread things. They don't understand how to get max value and how to build all the way to the top. You took them to the top of the mountain in the middle of your show. There's only one place to go once you're at the top of the mountain. And go look at the fucking graph. It's not a mountain, it's the fucking viewership. And the rest of that show, it slides right in the back down. So these are simple that an Al Snow, that a Jim Cornette, that a Rip Rogers, that a Vince Russo, that a Renee, anybody who's ever been a booker understands this shit. And we've got a kid with billions of dollars 4 years in who still has no idea because the people he's hired and surrounded himself with are sitting there taking a paycheck with a smile on their face and not doing what's best for business. I'm almost getting tired of having to say this over and over for 5 years, where I keep hearing on other shows where, I listen to K100 pretty avidly and all the clips that they put out, and obviously Russo brand, but of guys like, well, they're just going along to get a paycheck. That paycheck will not be there. If you want it for 5 years or you want it for 2 years.
Right.
If you want it for 2 years, keep doing nothing. Keep smiling and keep having your hands in his pocket and take it. If you want it for 5 years, you would actually talk to the guy, have a sit down, and give him a fucking master's degree education with the doctorate level workers he has surrounded himself with. None of that is going on in what I see in the formatting of this show to make it proper. You have all the puzzle pieces and you're putting them together incorrectly and then going, nailed it. And it looks like a fucking Picasso instead of a Van Gogh. There's no rhyme or reason for that to happen. And I get tired of old workers, myself being an old worker, going, they're just there for the paycheck and they're going to do it. And then the next money mark will come along. Why? Everyone says, I love this business. It was my boyhood dream. Well, if that's the fucking truth, then you would want the highest level shows with the best quality storylines, production, and wrestling. And I don't see that happening here when they have all the opportunity to make that happen. And we're in year 4 doing this shit. Bullshit. I don't want to hear that shit anymore about 2 years, versus the 5 years. If you were smart, you would want the best for everybody. And that means making the show better.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's some of your hot news stories there. You can go ahead and check out channelattitude.com, sign up, get Hami Media Group and all of the glorious podcasts that everyone produces here, from the Monday Locker Room, the Wednesday Locker Room, Friday Locker Room when Ben has the time.
Yeah, someday again.
Someday again.
Not on 4. I'll tell you, not on 419 and 420. That's for fucking sure. He won't have the time.
No Friday Locker Room this week, guys.
But of course, Sunday we'll try and do something. We'll do something fun Sunday.
Sunday morning wrap-up show. We'll try to get something going. But yes, Sunday morning snooze. Go for it. You got the Impact Attack. You got the SmackDown show, the Next Level Review, the Smack Attack, Rampage Uncaged, the Impact Attack. Of course, you've got here, like the Fuse. You can also check out channelattitude.com. Sign up, Russo brand, if you'd like to get all of his content there as well. Castrated the Marks. You got the Raw and SmackDown review with Ben and Stevie. You've got Stevie Ray show, the Heat show, Harlem Heat show with Stevie Ray, and of course you got
black and white.
Black and white, yes. And then you've got Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Disco. I'm sorry, Head, not Disco. But you can listen to him with Disco on patreon.com/RussoTWC, as well as Master Shoot Theater with Vince Hameen and his young writer. Check that out. You want to get signed up. For those who missed the Monday locker room, then I don't want to reopen up these wounds, as I know it's been a couple days. But you came out to the ring Saturday night. You were challenged by someone. I forgot who this Big Mike or whatever his name from Jacksonville. I don't fucking know. It doesn't even matter.
Big Bill Collier, the Infidel Supreme.
All right, Big Bill. Man, that boy's a big boy. Big Bill Collier comes out. He challenges Ben Hameen, sets the precedent that if you win, you're the number one contender for the Immortal Heavyweight Championship. But if you lose,
which I was anyway. I already was.
Yeah. But if you lose, you have to leave. Now, of course, you being you were like, dude, I could take this guy, whatever. But then all of a sudden, he pulls a Russo swerve, and brings out Dick Justice. And as a result, after the back and forth, the shenanigans that Dick Justice pulled, having the crowd beat up on you, I mean, that's interference, right? That should be DQ right there, right?
I mean, I fought at least 28 people in 12 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you went through your own personal Royal Rumble gauntlet all at once. And you
see what they put me through? Do you see what the conspiracy mounts against me? Does anybody else have to face 28 people singles that night? No, they all had a Royal Rumble. Not me. Not psychological warfare of Dick Justice. Not you being an inside mole for the New York State Athletic Commission. Not all these things. The referee sideburns in on it. Demetrius from Dippin' Donuts just happens to show up after weeks of after shows not being there. He's there. So you've got the money marks, you've got the inside men, you've got the crowd in on it, you got even the insider muscle dummy Bill Collier and Dick Justice all conspiring against me. And Chris Envy from Dynasty was at the show as well. You think this isn't a conspiracy against me? I'm just making it up. And the commissioner was there.
I mean, look, I'm just saying. I had no.
I'm just saying. I'm wrong. All those things just happened to me. They just happened to all 7 of those things just happened to align at one time. No. It's just coincidence.
Well,
None of you guys are in on it together.
Okay, first off, I had to drive 3.5 hours this way. Okay, so
you drove 3.5 hours out of nowhere to not come fuck me over. You just would happen to be in the neighborhood. Good stuff. Good stuff, everybody.
Well, Ben Hameen is no longer allowed to wrestle in the state of New York, but he also has diplomatic immunity. So, I mean, any point in time that could change. So he doesn't care.
Kathy Hoke will get at me, sweetheart. We'll go out tonight. We'll get this straightened out, Kath.
He doesn't really care about your rules. If Ben Hameen wants to show up, he'll show up. I'm just saying.
No, like I said, am I more is Bill, Hillary Clinton, and Dick Cheney and Barack Obama more dangerous now that you don't know what they're doing and you don't see them, or were they more dangerous when they were in the public spotlight? And you better watch out for Z-Wu and Blaze Haram. I'm talking to you. You better watch out for. Oh, sure. We'll see. We'll find out after we investigate.
Good.
After we investigate.
I'm ready for the trials. I didn't do anything wrong.
Okay. All
I did was drive up here. That's it. That was it.
Where were you on January 6th? Let's start there.
Of this last year?
Okay.
Of this last year or the year before? It's been 2 different days.
We'll see how it works out.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, no, that's the wrong one. I'm sorry. It's time for some AEW Dynamite here as we get into AEW Dynamite from Indianapolis last night on April the 17th. Shout out to Jargo. I don't know if he went. Probably did. Probably had to work and wouldn't waste his money on that. But then again, I don't know. Okada and Will Ospreay were there, so maybe Jargo was in the house.
And so you can guarantee he was there.
Maybe Jargo was in the house. But AEW tonight starts out with a opening from Jon Moxley making his way down to the ring. He's the new IWGP Heavyweight Champion. He gets in the ring on the mic, talks about winning the first title 20 years ago, and how he's never really had help in the business. His message is the same as it was then. Kiss his ass and watch him get it done. He's been chasing the title for years, and now he has it. Calls out the Don Callis family, says they know where to find him. He'll be here all night, but suspects they don't want that action. Says next week he's challenging Powerhouse Hobbs. He's going to show him that he is the biggest, baddest, meanest one of them all. So as this was happening, I was on Discord with a couple buddies of mine, and one of them didn't watch wrestling. Shout out to Joe Morin from the Tech Podcast, and he's done stuff here. He was on Discord as well, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice, John Moxley. I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna put over a championship for another wrestling brand. Yay!"
Well, I missed the Bearcats and the AEW self-help group. Shout out to the Bearcats out there. Apologies, I just been going hard as hell. By the time I get home, it's 9:55. To jump on is going to be useless. But when I saw that, I got excited because I knew the belt count would be shifted. So I'm not sure if you're playing at home or if there was a group last night. What the final belt count was, but now we have the IWGP title in the mix, so adjust as necessary. So, but I see that shit and then I think about what the fuck's his name? Who won the Atlantic Continental Breakfast Championships? What's that?
Okada or Orange Cassidy?
No, fat white guy, Eddie Kingston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like those were 3 belts, and we haven't seen those belts since the week after he won them.
They're gone.
Like just ridiculous tournaments for titles that are absolutely meaningless, that have no background to them. And then I put over on the show on Monday that I thought it was good business that Mox won that in Japan. He needed something aside from gigging in the first match or the failed back Blackpool Combat Club to be important, and that title does that because when I was in 2CW, or no, it wasn't even in 2CW. Was it? Yes, it was. When AJ showed up as the IWGP champ right before he went to WWE, and that title was either made out of a meteor or lead or something because it was 10 times heavier than any other belt I've ever held up. It's like a rib to hold that title, but an honor at the same time, just because you got to travel with it. And then somebody stooged off in the chat that the new IWGP belt isn't that. It's not the original that carries all the honor and tradition of it. And it looks like the women's butterfly title from the Divas era. And it does pretty much without the pink on it. And I go, what the fuck are they doing, bro? The whole thing is the legacy of that belt in having that. And that's what Moxley would want. And that's really what set AJ on the trajectory from the indies to WWE greatness for the last 3 years. So right now we've got a belt that really means nothing in a time that this should be sparking this guy. Now he's got to make that belt, not carry the tradition and the honor of becoming the champion. Well, they'll say, well, the belt doesn't mean anything. It's the honor and tradition and the legacy of no, wrong. Get me heavy ass belt because that's the one everybody knows and that they need to see, bro.
Get me.
Even the WWE belts with these big W's on them are nothing more than an evolution from John Cena's ridiculous spinner belt. And all anybody really wants to do is get back to the winged eagle that looked prestigious, right? And even the new tag belts are kind of a throwback to that with some stupid corporate branding logo that looks like the spinner belt, like it's 2001 and we're fucking out here ghost whipping the ride, fucking listening to Eminem. It's asinine. And that choice to make that the IWGP belt what it is was ridiculous as well.
Get me Ashton Kutcher. It's the butterfly effect. Let me ask you this. I mean, just because we're talking about New Japan, I mean, I guess the argument could be made on one side, right? That if you're a member of the New Japan roster, that you guys at the promotion itself needs to take a look at themselves in the mirror, because if Mox is your champion, what does that say about you as the talent working for the promotion? But also on the flip side, you also have to ask the same question. If you are that talent, you are one of those top stars, why is Jon Moxley the champ?
I think those are good questions, and I think there's good answers for those, though, because I look at history and I look at a Terry Funk or a Road Warriors or a Bruiser Brody or other guys who went there, Stan Hansen, and became top guys, and putting them in the mix refreshes a lot of guys and gives guys an opportunity to get over who might have just been mid-carders to some degree, to get them elevated. So there is that reason to do it. And then on the flip side of that, one of my favorite feuds ever in ECW was Masato Tanaka and Mike Awesome, and they made him champ too, over here. So it can work both ways, and it really does put a breath of fresh air in, because you get a top international blood feud title storyline, but at the same time you can mix them in and bring those guys over here and get them debuted and make them credible. So I think Takashita is probably the modern, not that Masato Tanaka's dead or anything, but to me he reminds me the most of Tanaka. I want to say, who's his Mike Awesome? That's what he needs, and maybe it's Moxley, like to for Takashita to win that belt here and then take it back over there. To me, is where the opportunity is, now that you have a Gaijin, I guess is what they call Americans, right? Yeah, boom. Yeah. All I know is from Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon. You've been teaching the Kwai Lo, which means round eye, but so that I think we need a Japanese star that's established to be able to step up, and whether that's Okada, but it doesn't seem like Okada be the right choice because he just left there, right? Like, so he doesn't need that, and he's heel as well, but Moxley's trying to play babyface. But I think Takashita is the money feud right there that could last a year, and go back and forth and mix different guys going to Japan. Like, that's where you have a Daniel Bryan show up unannounced to have the back of Moxley when he's outgunned after they get heat on him in Japan. The next trip he goes back, where you do surprises like that. There can be some cool stuff.
All right. I will fall back then, because I'm just kind of like, I don't really care, because they don't really.
I don't either. I'm just saying it's good for the guy because he doesn't have anything, and there's money value. You're paying him top dollar, right? And he wants that underground credibility. This shit just fits to me. It's not like I'm pumped about it or I can't wait to see it. I'm just letting you know what I think best business is going forward with it.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see what happens there. When it comes to Mox and New Japan, one might make the argument, right, that there was a report, this came out in the last week or so, that, I don't know, New Japan didn't want to split costs with AEW this year for Forbidden Door 3, so it might be moved from Arthur Ashe Stadium. But maybe this is a way to try and bond that business relationship further by showcasing.
Yeah, like if they're hurting,
their
and maybe New Japan feels.
I don't know. Continuing on, AEW Dynamite up next actually was. So she cuts a promo. CEO, looking again at I guess talking about her different people, her getting beat up or whatever. She said she can't wait to play the bitch. Can't wait to
CEO. I always get right back up. And as the CEO, I can't wait to pay back that bitch who attacked me last week. Lights off, huh? Lights off. That sounds a little too familiar, Julia Hart. Julia, I didn't picture you to be such a coward. Or maybe it's someone who wants me to think it was you. Maybe it's someone who doesn't want to face me at Double or Nothing when I'm all healthy. Either way, I am putting the entire women's division on notice. And Willow and Julia, I look forward to watching your little mixed tag team match tonight. Because remember, ladies, there's a price to pay when you mess with Mercedes Money.
No, nay. For Vince McMahon to AEW confirmed. Coward. I mean, the line's there, right? Coward.
Now you know why they don't give her lines in The Mandalorian.
Bro, I know. I want, what I was thinking as I was watching this, I was like, I wonder what if I showed this to my acting coach, what she would think. Would she look at this monologue and go, that was effective? And I went, well, she'd give her positive feedback on the fact that she doesn't move her forehead a lot, so she didn't animate facially too much, but it wasn't effective and it didn't feel real.
real. So what is she a CEO of?
Yeah.
Please show me your corporate sticker and your tax ID and your LLC and where you have employees and what are they actually making? What services do you provide? To me, it looks like you spend most of your time getting hair dyed to look like fucking Rainbow Sherbet. Like that's where you spend most of your fucking days. Because it sure isn't in developing your own creative. It sure isn't in developing your delivery skills and your acting skills. It's sure about taking stupid pictures and stupid outfits and calling yourself a corporate position that you really have no idea what that even means or identifies as. So, because CEOs are always getting attacked in the dark and laid out and then looking for revenge. You know, when Mark Zuckerberg was,
get stuck here.
yeah, what's that?
Oh, I didn't know if you got stuck or if I got stuck, frozen there for a
Yeah,
second.
it freezed for a second, but you know, it's all she really does is come down and wiggle her tiny little ass to the side and fucking do some "oh no you didn't" thing, and then it's off to the races with a monologue that is poorly delivered, doesn't seem real at all because of the phrasing, pacing, and is very wrestling. But because we hit 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 5, 4, and she thinks, and now the CEO, nay, and that we hit that on one, that's a good promo. Why? Because she was a factory made FCW NXT property who learned no acting skills. And because they hit a time cue at the end, the rest of the barking seals who are Pavlovian trained in the audience during practice all go, she did it. She hit. She said a word at 60 seconds she was supposed to say. That's a great promo. No, it's not. Not even close to being a great promo. You now you know how a time cue works. Can you get rid of the happy feet, the moving around, the nervous ticks, and then from there, now we're just at base camp 1 where we start to learn about character, delivery, emotion, facial expression, lack of overdoing it, dialing back the melodrama, and actually speaking like humans speak to each other in a very David Mamet way. Go look up David Mamet. He's a writer. You might have heard of him, or probably you didn't, be based on the work that I've seen here. And then once you've once you've gone through Glengarry Glen Ross a couple times, and you understand how people actually speak to each other. Yeah. Then maybe we'll make it stop looking like a 3rd or 4th grade play where our parents just clap for us because we didn't shit in our pants. Really, is that's about the level of delivery we're getting here from a CEO.
You know, it just fascinates me, you know, because since I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm this awesome person, but since I was a child, people have gone, oh man, you're natural at acting and playing other characters, and I still don't look at myself as a good actor. I still look at myself as someone who needs to go to acting class and continue to get better. And then you have individuals like Mone or other, what doesn't need to be wrestling, any form of entertainment, who are just on TV when they're clearly not honing in their craft, when she's clearly not even going once a week. Okay. You can find an acting coach for $200 a month. They're not expensive, and go find someone to give you 1 hour or 3 hours a week, either whether it be virtually or in person, and get support, or find somebody. I mean, and this could be the case too. Find an actual acting coach that's going to give you feedback that's going to be beneficial. That just goes, you did a great job. Because there's acting coaches like that too. Good job. All right, sit down. Let's get to the next performer. She needs to find an actual acting coach that's going to help her get the best out of herself, to bring the real whatever.
What you're talking about is getting better from a bad spot. This shit is on TV already.
Oh.
This isn't even getting ready to learn how to get to TV to be the quality. You are taking day 1-ish level piss poor actors and putting them on TV, hoping that they will get better as time goes on. And then you also have directors and producers who are allowing that to happen because they're inside the bubble. And because she was over, because they told us that in WWE, even though her stuff was worse, if not than what we're seeing here, it was just produced better at a higher level. So it covered it up. Now it's on our TV show and it hasn't been upgraded, corrected, or anything at all, but we're still going to put it out there because she's over, don't you know, inside the wrestling bubble. That's a huge problem that no one will like. we paid a shit ton for her, even though we bought, a subpar performer in anything we're trying to do. And we really have no idea where we're going. So let's mix her in with Willow Nightingale and the other girl who used to be a cheerleader, turned into a witch who's now half stripper. Like, we have no idea where we're going with any of these people. None of them have any stakes. And if you're going to outline who's in your upper echelon, it's not off of some bullshit from fucking Japan where she faced Willow Nightingale. It's based on the fact of who do I have that needs to get made? Tony Storm, Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, Serena. Those are my top women, right? Not, I can't wait for her to fight Rio out of nowhere and then fight this girl. Like, those aren't your top draw women. So to even have her calling those girls' names out isn't getting them over. That's lowering her status on in your fans' eyes of who she's trying to work with.
Yeah, I don't know.
The fact that she comes from WWE as a former champion and a bigger property is the opportunity to rub your top people to make them be at that same level. When she comes down to try and rub people that in your lower mid card, and all of a sudden she's not raising them up, you're getting less value from what you paid for from her superstar status.
Right. Frank, you mentioned, I see you're in the chat room saying that the acting lessons are cheaper than guitar lessons. Yes and no. It depends. Like if you're just doing like, say, a one-on-one with the person, that's a little bit more expensive. But in the case of like a class where she's got like 15 students a night, 5 nights a week, she's making like $15K a week for 15 hours of work. So it's pretty good. She's making good money at that point. You know what I mean? So it's if she's a reputable acting coach, and that's all Mone even needs to do. But she's got money too. She could be paying for top of the line acting coaches. People I don't.
She wouldn't even have to pay. She'd just tell Tony to do it. He'd pay it.
True. I don't understand. I wish somebody would pay for me at top of the line. Awesome.
Get me acting lessons, Deuce. Get him on the phone.
Get him on the phone. Backstage, somebody attacks Willow Nightingale before she has her match as a trainer and her stablemate there. Statlander check on her as she says she can still go on. In the arena, the lights go down as Adam Copeland comes out. And then Brody King attacks Adam Copeland after his entrance. And then the match starts off in like a handicap format, even though it's an intergender match. But of course, after the Oklahoma thing, I'm sure they didn't want to put Julia Hart in the actual ring against Adam. They don't want to get in trouble. They have their match at some point in the match. Willow Nightingale makes her return, makes the save as far as trying to help out, but Hart locks in the Heartless on Julia Hart after she hit her with a chain, and Aubrey stops the match with House of Black picking up the victory. What did you think of this match before Mercedes Moné came out to try and help?
I kind of felt for Brody King because this is a scary situation to be in. Working with a legend who's got known corrective injuries, and he wants to probably do some shit to make it look great because Edge really gives a damn about his time on TV. And Brody King's a big dude, right? Like, definitely anything when he hits you, you're gonna feel it, bro. Like that cross body he gave him on the chair on the outside. There's not a lot of way to take steam and momentum off of that. And so before that, when he comes up behind him and has to get heat on him to jumpstart him, they kind of cut away. But right before he does, you see him glom him, but it's like tink, like I don't want to hurt you, Edge. I love you, boom. And then Edge goes down, but then they cut away right on it. But then I think they knew that looked like shit, and Edge might have told him, "What are you doing? Lay it in." And then he puts him in the chair and gives him the crossbody, and it was like getting hit by a bread truck. Right. So it's super scary when you want to respect the legends you're honored to get to work with, but you got to take care of them, and you're not sure how they want it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and from one night to the next, it could be, whoa, brother, ease up. You give Hacksaw the gimmick, and I barely am touching him. And he's like, lighten up, pal. And then the next night, he fucking hits me with the gorilla hand, and he wants it back that way. So it's a tough position to be in, where you've earned your stripes to work with these top guys, but you never know. So I could see there was a little bit of that back and forth. I don't think fans would see that or know it, but I sure felt that fear for him. And I think there's money on that guy. I've said that before. I've liked some of his stuff. When they mix him in the right way, he's a great monster to have to beat. Murder Hawk, they should book similarly, but they keep starting and stopping him for some reason.
I mean, by comparison, right? When you look at AEW to WWE, you can make the argument that AEW has the bigger monsters, whether it be Murder Hawk, Powerhouse,
Hobbs, yeah, fucking a. Even what's his name who just signed, who loves to do the planches and shit, who he's fucking Brian Cage, like
big
dude,
guys, but they're not utilizing them that correctly, or they're being put in these 15, 20-minute matches and having them go 50-50 with guys half their size, right?
Right. If you got big guys, they got to go over strong, or we need a super heavyweight division where we're telling those stories, but we don't. We put a guy who's fucking 370 and 4% body fat in with Orange Cassidy and have him get knocked the fuck out. You're like, what? So again, we've got all the puzzle pieces. We have no idea how to put them together over there.
It's been weeks and we never got a follow-up to why they got rid of the meat match, right? All these big guys. Do you think somebody went backstage? Someone was like, we can't have that match. If we put all the big guys in the ring, they're going to all make us look bad. So, if they're going to go out there and they're going to steal the show from everybody else.
I don't think they went back and said that, but they said it in a car to somebody and it got changed, maybe.
Yeah.
I
mean, no explanation.
Now you're outlining the true wrestling politics of little guys worrying about losing their spot because they're cool and moreover because the guys that they're jealous of have something that they can never be.
Right.
And now you understand why politics happens to go out in underpants and boots and do fake fighting with other men in a very weird homoerotic way. But backstage, we're cutting each other's throats to go out there for 12 minutes. And then in that 12 to 20 minutes, they don't even understand how to get themselves over or how they should be wrestling. It is a fucked up business, bro. This is the one of many segments, like every week, where they do too much and step on the business at the end. At least this was one of the openers, so they could step on it here, and the story actually meant something. But by the time we do this 3 or 4 more times, it's already forgotten about, and the specialness of it means nothing by the end of the show. So if it was me, and I wanted to get these guys over, I would go the sex magic route. The girl is sexy. She's hot. The tape trader masturbators want to see her. So why not go the succubus muse route where she's trying to seduce Edge and they're doing everything they can to use her as a distraction while they get heat on them for a couple weeks until the payoff. And she goes to seduce Edge. That's where Beth Phoenix comes out, grabs her, gives her one glam slam, and then babies go over.
I don't know. I'm just running it through my mind. So I was like, man, you've got you got Big Kaz XL, you've got Lance Archer, you've got who we were just talking about right now? I'm sorry,
you got Brian Cage,
you got Shane Taylor, you got Bearcat, you got Brian Cage. Yeah, there's 8 to 10 guys there that they could do a super heavyweight division, and they're not doing it. I don't understand.
It's not even you a big motherfucker. That's not even a super heavyweight division. That's who should be on top. It shouldn't be Daniel Bryan. It shouldn't be Mox. It shouldn't be, you know what I mean? It shouldn't be these guys that have the WWE cred, but they look like they couldn't kick the shit out of anybody in a McDonald's. These other guys that are larger than life, they should be your top dogs, but nobody wants to book that 80s style because wrestling never drew money in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean,
why go that way?
You just said it right now, right? Because UFC's got that badass motherfucker title. So why doesn't AEW have a big motherfucker title, the BMF title or something, right?
Yeah, Rick Ross could come with a belt.
Yeah, exactly. I see. Let's see. Frank said at least Julia has a nice little rear. I agree. Julia Hart was looking really good.
Dude, sex sells. Like that's the other thing too. Oh, we're woke. We respect women and da da da. And it's the same thing in WWE. Liv Morgan's over there trying to act like a heel. That same day, she's out doing TikTok dances with CJ Perry and JoJo with their tits out on the beach, like wanting you to fucking jerk off to them. So what are you? Are you half a porn star? Are you a witch? Are you really a heel who's punk? None of that shit, because what goes on in the real life stooges off that you don't give a shit about what your TV business is. And the only reason people know you is because you're on TV. So AEW has been walking that woke line for a long time, but sex sells, B. And if this fucking chick wants to get him out, or if Sky Blue wants to show those ass cheeks, don't just do it with not looking at it. Like, we love looking at ass because we wish we could have girls like that, but we don't want to objectify them. No, it's time. The pendulum is swinging back. If these girls are on IG wanting to be Insta whores with OnlyFans, then you lean the fuck into it and use sex for the literary tool that it should be used for to advance a storyline, not try and walk both sides of the fence so nobody speaks out or cancels you. Or don't do it at all then.
Right.
You can't have it both ways, because being in the middle is a lukewarm choice and it won't make you any money either way, and nobody gets over. You either give them sex or you take it away so they want it more.
Yeah,
Just like the wives.
just like the wives. I've really liked, as you know, obviously Julia Hart being one of the AEW originals. It's been, awesome. It's been pretty cool just from a fan perspective to watch her evolution, right? To go from this schoolgirl, cheerleader girl to, dang girl, you fine. So it's like that girl next door who grew up. So that's been pretty cool to see her evolution.
Really? You never seen a hot girl from 18 years old graduate high school, go to college, and come back after she's a party girl and fucking knows and does it all? That's exactly what we're seeing here. Life on the road where you grow up quick.
Right. And shout out to Boba, who sent me some salacious pictures this last weekend.
Yeah.
Bobo's got that Mandy Rose OnlyFans account, let's just say. I don't know.
There you go.
Good stuff. All right. Well, back into AEW Dynamite here.
I think Bobo's got the Satnam Singh OnlyFans too. That's a hell of a one to subscribe to there.
Only he's there for the feet. He's those giant feet. So Renee Paquette post-match, Julia keeps the hold on Mercedes. Keeps the hold.
Deuce, get in here. This guy's got an 8-inch toe. Jesus Christ.
Julia keeps the hold on Willow Nightingale until Mercedes Moné comes down to the ring with a steel chair in hand and runs her off. And that is the last we saw of the CEO. Post-match after that, we go backstage. We've got Renee Paquette with Samoa Joe. Joe says he thinks Strickland doesn't carry himself like a champion. He had to disinfect the belt after he put his hands on it. Calls Swerve a choke artist. And at Dynasty, he'll be the one choking him out. What do you think of Joe's backstage promo?
Yeah, forgettable at best. Show don't tell. We have promos all night long. I want action. Like if you're really that hot about it, and the dude's got double black eyes, we're not going to sit there and wait to talk back and forth to each other. It's on site, right?
Yeah.
So we should have added something on site.
On site. Yeah, you're right. After that, go to commercial, come back, and this is where they had this vignette with FTR. So the FTR video package is playing, and then the Bucks and Okada interrupt it in the middle of it while it's playing. You hear Matt say, "No, we can't. No, I'm sorry, we got to cut this. Sorry, we're short on time." Then they start talking trash about how they're able to beat up some of their friends tonight in a ladder match. And then Okada calls Pac a dead man, and the Bucks order Tony Khan to hit their music. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got the debut of the man.
I'm serious. I'm not going to sit back and take this fucking shit.
He's there. He's on TV now. Tony Khan, Ben.
It was only a matter of time, right? Sure, we got Big Annie's and we got everything else, but I like the Bucks with the vest with the EVP on it. This is what we kind of should have been doing a bunch, but they put Tony in the shot in Gorilla, and now that's bringing you into the reality, right? So whether Tony just was like wanted to be a gorilla so we can show it backstage, that doesn't matter, because the Bucks are now telling him what to do. And that means he's in on it with the Bucks when it comes to whoever they're fucking over. He's now not an impartial person. or he needs to be big leagued and fooled by them, so we have empathy for him, so he can retain his innocence and whatever credibility remains. But he didn't. They told him what to do, and he fucking goes, okay. So he's in on it on the heel side of fucking over his own roster of with the Bucks at this point and the choice they made. I do love Matty Walk. I like these things. Like we're in a 3-shot, whatever, and they gotta lower the ramp. We're going up, lower the elevator, da da da. And they walk off. He goes, no, lower it, a little lower. And then beat, lower. You know, that puts over that they're smaller dudes. I think those things are self-deprecating and funny. And I love shout outs from off camera that make the world believable. When I go through the crowd, even though I didn't do this, Matt, on this last show, almost, I'd say 99.95% of my career, I put the flag through the first, right, while the music's hitting. Then I come out, but I had Rated R bring me out, so I was letting him come out and get the shine first, no problem. But that come up and come out is where you get over in your entrance, where you don't have to do shit. You know what I mean? They hate you. So the rising out of the floor is excellent to make them different and special.
I'm gonna need you in this Ben Hameen farewell tour. Maybe when we get to OVW, we can have a conversation with Al Snow about it. I'm gonna need a springboard elevator. I'm gonna need you to pop out of the floor like side, Vin. Just whoop them in style. Yeah,
they just launched me. Actually, I could probably go up to the second floor and do the Shawn Michaels zip line in. I think it'd be is how I would probably go for it, and because I know the Davis Arena is built on concrete, and we're gonna have a lot of tunneling to do, and I just don't have that many Jews on my payroll.
We've got last week you hit us with the snapmare flip. Maybe next match you'll give us a springboard off the bottom rope. Is what I'm hoping. Springboard.
I was gonna do a moonsault on the Bill Collier, but that got fucking kiboshed. So, but yeah, man, when it comes to the Buck stuff with him, there's interesting possibilities there. But he now is in the storyline, and why would he agree to do that? Why does he feel the need to be on camera and do it? Y'all want to not have your producer all up in the videos dancing, come to death row, right? Not now. He's fucking take that. I'm on the show. I'm a character. Why is the reason why he'd do that?
I don't know.
Who else is on the shows walking out every week now?
Paul Levesque, aka Triple H.
You got it. If Game can come out of Gorilla, I'm just as big as Game, and I got to fucking show that I'm the management comes out and does that, right? Like that's exactly why he's on camera.
I like Frank's idea here. They should catch Khan with girls and threesomes and pervert behavior backstage. That would be funny, right? I mean,
there's plenty of alleged allegations with that from some of the Jacksonville hotel early days when it was time to build the territory. So there may be NDAs over there as well, and who knows? No one's heard about the lawyer Mega in a while, and no one's heard other names that are just happen to kind of disappear a little bit.
They ousted themselves. Well, after Tony Khan hit their music, we got Red Death, Daniel Garcia, that's his name now, and Death Triangles, Pac and Penta taking on the Elite. They have their match. The Elite win. Not a bad match. They went through a commercial break. I actually enjoyed it because Ichika hits the Tombstone Super Kick Party into a Rainmaker, and the pin was basically unnecessary at that point. The Elite win. Post match, we get an EVP trigger on Garcia before the Bucks bring in a ladder to the ring. They slam Daniel onto the steel, closing the ladder on him, holding him in place as Matt was climbing up. But then Pac came out, clobbered him with the timekeeper's hammer, and knocked him to the floor. What'd you think of this interaction between Death Triangle, Okada, FTR storyline progression?
You're kind of mixing too many elements in early on in the story. You know, what's the reason why Death Triangle's in there? I'm a Penta fan, so
It's
I kind of want
probably
something.
Collision. We're not
But
obviously they're not explaining it to
yeah,
us,
yeah,
right?
there you go. It's probably Collision. Check out DJ Mass Effects and the Vet. I did a quick run in on their show last weekend. It was good to see those guys. So you're probably 100% right. There probably is something tied in there that 220,000 people watched and they didn't reference on the show here to smarten us up
Right.
because we don't do production meetings. We got to worry about getting ourselves over on camera.
I don't watch Collision or Rampage. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I mean, Frank's says this, and I normally I agree. Penta has to get out of there because I think the guy's got a ton of money written on him. But right now, even though Triple H wanted to make the Latinos of WWE important, I feel like there's so many of them that it's convoluted right now, and there's no real stakes in an LWO cartel storyline, I guess, is where it is. And that's right where they'd mix Penta in, unfortunately. So to go up, no, but I think in AEW, he should be a top draw. Like the guys, him and his brother can do things that nobody else is doing in the ring. I think he's super marketable. I don't even really mind Abrahantes as the mouthpiece if we would use him right. And he should be a top international star that does Mexico, Japan, US, and everywhere. Like there's a lot of money on that dude that La Parka got to in Mexico and WCW, but never really to that top level. And I think Penta could be that guy. I agree there that, but him leaving AEW, I think WWE would make him look good, but it will only be a matter of time till he's folded right into the kind of same spot he's in now.
LWO. He'd be right back in the LWO doing something, just a character in the background.
Yeah.
All right. Well, following that, we went to break, came back. Taz was in the ring this time with the mic, waiting for Jericho and Hook to come out. It's only been 3 weeks, but this is apparently now over. Taz says there has been issues between them, and they're just here to make it easy. Jericho starts, thanks Taz for getting Hook to come out. Thanks Hook for coming down here. Says he pulled Hook off the apron to get his attention last week because he felt he wasn't listening. He says he's the learning tree, and everyone from MJF to John Moxley to Will Ospreay has been better for it. Asks him, will you sit under my learning tree? Hook tells him no. And Chris is apologetic about it. Taz keeps trying to get him to back off. Jericho says he's not having any, kind of shoves Taz to the floor. Excalibur notes that I guess Taz just had surgery on his knee, so it was painful. Hook squares up, takes Jericho to the corner, tells him he's crossed the line, and then he'll show him how good a guy he is anytime, any place, anywhere, kicks him out of the ring. I was a little disappointed that, I mean, if you're going to hot shot this, then after 3 weeks, and Jericho should have tapped Hook right at the end. He shouldn't just got out of the ring because it kind of makes him look like I don't know, a little bitch. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, man, it's tough because respect Taz and Jericho's one of my favorites, and Hook is really young, so it's tough but he's got these guys looking out for him, and unfortunately, this scene is very strange because it's not really it's written backwards.
Yeah.
Please name me an archetype. In the Rocky movie, Mick goes to apologize to Rock after Rock searches him out, and Mick kind of shits on him. This is the opposite of that. This is the master. This is Pai Mei going to ask Beatrice to come be his student. No master seeks out a student. The student seeks out the master. So right away, this is very strange. And we also have the id that why isn't Taz training his own kid? Well, his knee's fucked up. And the next best guy that he would trust would be Chris Jericho. And Jericho should be doing that. Now, can Hook be a cocky motherfucker who doesn't want to listen? Absolutely. What happens when you do that to your master? Well, what happened to Beatrice in Kill Bill is, bitch, you're carrying buckets of water up 14 flights of steps to break you. You are going to bust your knuckles over and over again until you in your sleep and you have a nightmare about it and smash your hand into the wall and it hurts. Repetition, 10,000 hour rule, discipline. These are the things that should be imparted. You don't go ask a student to sit under your learning tree so he can tell you to fuck off. And then I get it that we're turning Jericho heel on Taz, and he pushes Taz, who we now have empathy for with an injury and legacy. And then, like, his son is just sitting there until he walks over to get in his face and cut a promo. My old man just had knee replacement surgery. Let me tell you, if you didn't even push my dad and put my fucking, well, first of all, my dad hit you with one open hand and you fucking dropped to your knees, wishing you never fucking lived. But I wouldn't walk over, bro. I'm ripping your fucking face off the second you touch the old man. Like,
I'm in prison that
so
night.
the
I'm
react,
yeah. I'm going to prison.
yeah. And there ain't no, I'm not under the learning tree or any of that shit, dude. It is 12 dudes from the back got to come pull me off of you because I'm going straight. You're never gonna talk again. You're never gonna see again. You're gonna be fucked up. And none of that happened. Instead, he tells Jericho, the veteran of 30 years, to get out of his ring because he beat him in a match. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like, and that's what kills me because I want to be like, there's no way Taz and Jericho could agree to that. This feels like Tony Khan not understanding to me, and then I could be wrong. And Taz will DM me later, going, "Brother, you didn't watch Collision and you didn't watch Rampage where we told the story." I'm like, "No, dude, I was selling weed." I can tell you about this scene though that it was written completely backwards, and the reaction was completely wrong when a heel put his hands on the dad, how the son should have reacted, which is, I have a short fuse, high testosterone, and I'll fucking jump on this guy in a second. Instead, he talks him down to him and tells him to get out of the ring. No, wrong reaction totally. And
Well,
everybody's id is way confused and crossed up in this. If anything, Taz, when he's like, brother, take it easy on the kid, and Jericho's like, shut the fuck up, and belittles him and turns back, that's where Taz grabs the Kanda Hajime on fucking Jericho and then overcomes Hook, and you start laying the boots to him while the old man's got him down. So Jericho in turn has an id to come back and get it. And Taz and Hook, the father and son bond isn't broken. We just did the same shit with Chip Stetson and Shane Stetson for the last year in Immortal. And Shane Stetson is now one of the top heels in the Northeast after having to fight his own father. And then Chip just turned on the last show to help him get back over. So you can have the blood is always going to be thicker than water, right? But we didn't tell that. We didn't tell that story here, dude. So a little disappointed in you because I respect the shit out of both of those top guys. And it really was as miswritten as it could be, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's been brought up in the chat here, and I agree. You know, it's hard to break that, I guess, reality, right? That sense of reality when we know Chris Jericho backstage has stood up to guys like Brock Lesnar, but now he's afraid of Hook in the ring.
He fucking punched out Goldberg, but fucking Hook tells him to get the fuck out. Yeah, bro, we got problems, man. Like, and this is where I go back to: are these top guys who've seen it all? Seen it all. Jericho's done it all. First undisputed champion. Taz ran ECW for 3 years as the locker room leader, undefeated. These guys are now staying quiet in this fucking backstage area to agree to these terrible premises that have never played out in wrestling or movies or history books before, that now the fucking master has to go seek a student right there. Once you're inviting them to under the learning tree, you're fucked. Did I come to you, Maddie, and go, Matt, I really wish you would come here and let me teach you about business, wrestling, and podcasting? Is that how I did it with you, or Rick, or Ray, or anybody?
Like, it took me a year before I even got to have a one-on-one conversation with Ben Hami. Ben Hami rounds himself before you even get to the king, for sure, or the prince. Sorry.
No, it's all good someday, but like it's just ridiculous that we're starting stories, and like you said, 3 weeks in, this is where we're at with it. I've never seen it in the history of writing. First time ever. Well, there's a reason why it doesn't work.
It's beautiful. I love it. I mean, it's captivating content. Speaking of captivating content, Renee Paquette does an equal and opposite sit down now with Shane Strickland. Strickland says Joe can't talk, but he's coming home with a title on Sunday. Swerve says, with respect, he shouldn't be explaining why he can beat Samoa Joe to Renee. He should tell it to Joe face to face tonight in the ring, and he will. I didn't mind this. At least they were threading something like, hey, Joe came out Joe had talked shit backstage, and Strickland's like, okay, we're going to talk some more shit in the ring. So at least they were doing, what's going on, Pierce Austin, best podcaster in Australia. Nice to have you in the chat room today. Check out the Pierce Austin show on his own podcast network there. Thank you, Pierce Austin, for joining us. Appreciate
you. Perfect.
What'd you think of Samoa Joe and, the Saint Strickland backstage interview?
I like the reveal of the black eyes from the black. Get me black eyes. No black eyes. Oh, okay. Yeah. The like that's a shoot injury and it looks good, right? Like now there's real fucking heat there. And when I say this, an injury is an opportunity to make a heel. And people are like, even earlier, Frank in the chat was like, why is Shane talking about his military stuff? That's babyface, because he is the babyface in this now. They've switched roles back and forth, and they could have done even more if they would have mixed Dustin in the right way and made him champ and had more stakes. But him pulling the glasses off and showing the black eyes at the end gives him serious id and empathy from us of like, oh shit, it's on now, That's why I wanted some on-site stuff instead of promos back and forth, because we've got enough backstage promos on this show. There was like 7 tonight.
Yeah, I mean, as you said backstage, he basically pushed this off to the ring, so there wasn't really a lot of substance to this backstage interaction. We got Deonna Purrazzo taking on Mariah May next, as Tony Storm came out with Mariah May or into Mariah May's corner. Those two went back and forth. Deonna Purrazzo wins by pinfall at the Sunset Flip. Afterwards, Tony and Mariah start beating down Purrazzo until Thunder Rosa comes down. And then May and Deonna brawl while Thunder takes Tony out with an elbow and I guess like draws like lipstick all over her face. Is that what it was?
Yeah, camel clutch lipstick spot. Classic.
Yeah.
So the baby face at the end runs in, beats the fuck out of everybody while the heel to save the other baby who was down. But instead of the heels powdering and leaving with their heat while the baby checks on the other baby face, Thunder Rosa instead gets in one of the most heel fucking submission holds of all time and then disrespects by drawing on the face of the heel. Those are all mega heel heat things. Thunder Rosa's back as a babyface ticket seller who paints her face and is loved by little girls and Latinos. And now she's getting heat on the heel to close this. This is asinine amateur hour once again, where nobody's going, why am I getting heat on the heels? I'm a babyface who's a ticket seller. And Thunder Rosa's a booker. She runs Mission Pro.
Yeah.
These are the wrong. There is no way to justify these choices. And the reality is it was 2-on-1. And again, we step on business at the end. Just let the heels get fucking heat on the baby face, on Deonna. Thunder Rosa runs in. Heels see her coming. Powder, laugh, and Deonna and Thunder Rosa are there together. She's helping her up. Good sister in her. And now we have the tag match set up. Instead, we make a completely idiotic and wrong choice to close out this scene. The babies get over on the fucking heels with heel heat.
I'm telling you, I really feel like maybe they write this stuff down and then they just put they get things mixed up. Like, this was your paper, this is my paper, and
they're children, bro. They're children from a factory process, guided by a guy who watched PWG that was clown wrestling. And he doesn't understand or know how to do business or the basic archetypes of screenwriting or character development. That's what we're dealing with here, with an infinite budget. So these are the choices you're going to get that make no sense.
Well, they gave us some quick backstage packages here from before break and after. One, it was the Bang Bang Gang backstage. They challenged the Acclaim to a trios title unification match, winner take all. And then we came back from break, and now we have the Acclaim where they cut a promo to accept the challenge from the Bang Bang Gang for Dynasty. And further, Max and Anthony want a 2-on-2 tag match against the Ass Boys on Collision. So in a span, if we're not including the commercial break, in a span of 60 seconds, we saw 6 belts there for the belt count. And for those wondering what the belt count was, by my estimation, I believe it was 13. I'm sure Liz will correct me if I'm wrong in the future. But what did you think of these, I guess, backstage packages hyping up their now pre-show match? By the way, this was, we've had this storyline looming in the background. Haven't said anything for 2 weeks on Dynamite after the big, breakup. And now they're going to get a pre-show match on the pay-per-view. Thoughts on this setup? Why do we have all these weird?
I mean, I think all these guys got great charisma, whether it's the sons of Billy Gunn, Sons of Guns, and even Switchblade. I think he's trying to be as entertaining as he can be. You know what I mean? And everything he's given. The guy gives good effort. I'm not going to say he doesn't. Might not be my cup of tea, but he's making the most out of what he's being given. So, and then Billy Gunn, kind of a plotty predicated promo, but he can get it over just because he's 3-decade fucking Hall of Famer. And I think the Acclaimed have money written on him too. We're talking about big golden rods, so we're doing cock jokes and whatnot. I'm down with fucking B-level potty humor. That shit is funny to me. I say go stronger with it. But as far as me being pumped about this match, at least they're doing business in Billboard and something for Collision. Is that going to draw anybody as a must-see? I don't know.
Okay, next up, we had a match, and I don't know why, but this match just got me aggravated just because of the results. We had Orange Cassidy taking on Shane Taylor, another guy, twice the size of Orange Cassidy, one of the best promo talkers on the mic right now. The guy knows how to work, and yet he has to fucking lose to Orange Cassidy. First of all, he's got to go 50-50, so we can't even just have Shane Taylor dominate him the whole match and then Orange Cassidy get lucky. We can't even play that route. We've got to have Shane Taylor go 50-50 with Orange Cassidy and then lose, not just lose, but lose cleanly to Superman punches.
After no selling, big shots from him, a big knee shot, a reverse punch. They both come out. He sells one, kicks out, and then another one. Dude, look at Shane Taylor. His arms like tree trunks. He's got a ass that you couldn't fucking knock him off his center of gravity, right? And I get it that we're doing thigh slap punches and it's Japan shit, but yeah, it's a problem. And again, here we are with more run-ins until Trent comes out at the end. Here's my point with these run-ins I was going to make earlier. The match means nothing now. The only thing that matters is the business, as Al Snow would say. And the business is now getting done post-match in run-ins and cutoffs from run-ins, heel turn cutoff run-in in this case, where we had Trent turn last week, and now he just looks there menacing and stop the baby faces from helping. Like, just let the baby get over and just let the heel get heat. Stop with the run-ins because it's all confusing, and the entire match that everybody just worked and took bumps for is now meaningless because the second you do that, the business is the last thing they see. So if it's a submission or a pin, depending on who's delivering it, how it's done, whether it's cheated or the baby that was taking heat the whole time and overcomes, that moment is what gets them over. As soon as you do a run-in, that moment is now gone and not the most important thing anymore. The business that's happening after that is the most important thing, and it's always muddied, it's always confusing, and it's done 4 and 5 times a show. So now none of them are special. You do it once a show.
Yeah, and I know some people are gonna be like, "Well, Shane Taylor should just be happy he's finally getting TV time on AEW." Yeah, sure, whatever. Okay, the guy is a fucking beast, and he's so underutilized in AEW. And we're seeing guys that are half his size get to be in
and not to shit on Shane Taylor, but why are we seeing him on AEW? Think about the litany of guys we talked about that are already more established. And I like the shit out of Shane Taylor's work too. I agree. I think he's great on the mic. But we've got Murder Hawk established. We've got Big Bill established. We've got, if you're looking for that type of shit, why are we doing another guy that we're only going to marginalize and sideline where there's more money on Shane Taylor than there is Orange Cassidy at this point, in my opinion? And there's more money on Big Bill. There's more money on Murder Hawk, but we're not using them at all.
Rumble, young man, rumble. Afterwards, we got a video package for Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly. Apparently, that rivalry has started again. Collision, didn't know, but at least they informed us. I like the look Roddy's doing, where he's got like the old man kind of look now with the glasses and the mustache as the champ. So I like his character work he's doing. But yeah, if they're not going to show us this on Dynamite, then okay, I guess Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong are now feuding, even though about a month ago they were friends, and we didn't really get any update on Dynamite. So
I think he's 100% sealing Jack Vaughn shit.
yep, that's a good point. Will Ospreay makes his entrance
because he doesn't come up with his own. He's in the fucking Florida bubble. He's on advice and climate change. And for character, I'm going to look at what's on the indies and go, I could do that. I'll take that, as opposed to having an original idea. And really, he's not delivering like Jack Vaughn does. All he did was take his look, thinking it looks like an old timey fucking shooter.
Maddie, that's a great question. I don't know what happened to Big Bill and Starks. After they lost the titles to Sting, they disappeared. So I mean, there you go. I haven't really seen anything after they lost the titles to Sting and Darby.
Tune into Rampage to never find out.
Never find out. Claudio Castagnoli versus Will Ospreay was next. This was, of course, to promote the feud between Bryan and Danielson and Mox and Hobbs, if you will, the BCC versus the Callis family. These guys had a match. Will Ospreay wins. What did you think of the match before the shenanigans?
Yeah, I mean, this was a pretty good match. There was a couple no-sell things back and forth that New Japan said I hate, but like, really, these two guys are A+ shooters who know how to mix in great chain wrestling, grabbing a hold, reverse out, come through. Here's your big spin, but I'm going to do something on the back hit. Wow, like I really like their cadence and timing, their how they put stuff together and reversed out of a lot of stuff, as opposed to taking it and fucking no selling it. So I like this match, but again, run in at the end, beat the fuck out of the guy. So now that whole match, every bump meant nothing. All we're getting is the 3-on-1 until we get the run in, so we can set up the 6-man. It's just, here's that trick again. Ta-da! The ace of spades. Is this your card? Yeah, it was the last 4 times you showed me this too. Ta-da!
Oh, as you're laying it out there, yes. After the match, Cal's family hits the ring, starts beating Claudio down. Mox comes out, makes a save, stares Hobbs down. Powerhouse decides to leave, and then Ospreay's yelling at the rest of his team, like, "What the hell?"
Stares down Hobbs. That's the time for him to get in Takashida's face for the New Japan shit for it to kick off. Instead goes to the guy who got knocked out by Orange Cassidy 2 weeks ago. Good job, everybody.
Final segment, Strickland makes his way down to the ring. He reminds Joe about when he knocked him on his ass like a little bitch, and he had the fear in his eyes, called him down and talked to him like a man. Joe comes down, security surrounding him, but Shane dives onto him. They brawl into the ring. He hits his house call, but then Samoa Joe pops back up. He blocks the swerve stomp. Joe gets under him for the muscle buster, leaves him laying in the ring holding title over his head, and then we go off the air. So Samoa Joe's going to lose the title this weekend, right? I mean, that's how this works. If you go over on the show, then
yeah, or someone will run in at the end and we'll start a whole new feud. Orange Cassidy will come out and knock out everybody. It'll be great. Yeah, was this the best way to end your show?
No.
Does this get everybody to tune in next week? A must see.
Or the pay-per-view this Sunday? Probably not.
Probably not.
Bryan Danielson wasn't even on this show, and he's taking on Will Ospreay. What the hell? They're promoting that as the big dream match. Oh, sorry, he's gonna be on Collision. I'll tune in to Collision. My
bad. Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. Especially after last week when we really needed to capitalize off the controversy. We set up nothing. We have no CM Punk follow-up. Even FTR, which was that main business, gets cut in a heel way, which is why I don't think that was the best choice of where we needed to go. I didn't mind it because heels are getting heat, but it was an interesting choice that I don't think they're going to get max value out of, you know? So a pretty disappointing show with a lot of the same step on all of the I think it's next door. They're smashing medicine balls into the floor. I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, unless we're being bombed, that's possible as well.
The conspiracy
but yeah, man, Tony Khan's debut. That's what I took away from this. He had to get in like Triple H, had to be on camera. These are sells. These are big sells that are bigger than fucking my sleeper cells or the fact that of what's going on in the show. When you make these creative choices, these are Cold War moves that WWE is influencing you to do, whether it's psychological warfare or not. You're selling. You're selling for what, and they're laughing at you when they see that kind of shit. They're going, Game's been on camera. He couldn't help himself. I knew he was going to get on camera. That conversation's going on today. And then people be like, well, he's been on camera before. Not like that. Not in a fucking capacity where the Young Bucks pimped him out and now he's on a side in the storyline. Not like that. He hasn't been. So interesting. Yo. JD. Okay.
I think we're getting. I think
Tony Khan might be here now.
I was gonna say. I think we're getting
So,
the siren call here. I think it's almost time to wrap this up.
Yeah, I gotta wrap it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this edition of Light the Fuse. Of course, my name is MSG. Check out my podcast, SMB, South Park Review, linktr.ee/South Park Pod. Episode 223 just dropped yesterday. Broadway Bro Down. What happens when Randy Marsh here decides to become a Broadway bro after he figures out that Broadways are set up for subtext to give more blowjobs to women? Shout out to 2CW. So yes, check out Broadway Bro Down, where we see Randy Marsh figures out that Broadway is all about getting men more blowjobs. It's all about the subtext.
And I actually just got Randy Marsh from Dankin yesterday, as well as Alaskan Thunder fucking Green Crack. So come on over and get your Randy Marsh and listen to Suck My Balls podcast on your way to Ravens Joint and have a hell of a 420 with some integrity out there.
Well, that Alaskan Thunderfuck was definitely probably my favorite out of the three you gave me. So it was definitely top of the line. I would definitely recommend that. Bin Hameen, the conspiracy's on, but what do you got coming up? Do you got anything planned on this Bin Hameen farewell tour right now?
Yeah. Oh, well, I've got the revenge. I've got to kill a bunch of fans for slapping me in the face. I've got to expose you for the conspiracy.
That little girl's going to have her Christmas canceled this year. Let's be real.
Oh, definitely. Should be lucky if she ever walks again. But y'all, it's 420 weekend. It's the WrestleMania of marijuana. 2 days, 419, 420 here at Ravens Joint. Make sure you follow at Ravens Joint on all socials, plus YouTube and Twitch. Going to be doing a live mini desk concert with our common roots on Saturday night, 420. So light one up, hang out with us virtually. Would love to see those YouTube subs and Twitch subs at Ravens Joint in the next couple days, so we can spread the word. And yeah, man, just going to be selling the best cannabis in New York State. It's a big weekend for us, so it's all hands on deck with the new soldiers here at Ravens Joint. And I'll try and get out a show later this weekend to wrap it up in lieu of the Friday locker room. But thanks to all the producers, like you said, you today early on, as well as filling in on the Monday locker room and the Wednesday locker room. I'll have that up. Impact Attack, Big Ray got that up, and NXT too. So plenty to listen to, you guys. But good hanging out with the Bearcats this morning here, twitch.tv/Hameen Media, youtube.com/Ben Hameen, and as always, exclusively channelattitude.com for the rear Bearcats out there. You all, ding dong, hello.